Yeah, it feels great. Always great feeling being back in Wales. It's one of the biggest tournaments throughout the year, obviously, and it's a very comfortable place for the players. They have everything they need. The tournament is so well organized and hosted, and the place is beautiful, good weather, and yeah, everyone is eager to hopefully play well here, and so am I. You know, I had a couple of weeks of training and rest in February, and from last week in Acapulco, my season has really started, and I hope I can have a good result here.
Casper, it's often spoken about as the sort of fifth major, if you like, Indian Wells. Does it stand out like that in terms of the other Masters 1000s behind the slams, or is it sort of one of many great destinations you go to in that category?
Good question. I mean, it is one of the 9 Masters 1000. It doesn't give any more points than Shanghai or Monte Carlo or Cincinnati, but it is a little bit different because I think the stadium is so big. It sort of seems like you're playing a Grand Slam when you're out on the center court, and it's obviously close to 128 draw, both women, men, and the facilities are just incredible, and the fans also make it very special. So I understand why it's sort of referred to as a fifth major, and I know in golf they do a similar thing to the Players' Championship. They say that it's close to being like the fifth major in golf. So I don't know. They do know how to host tournaments here in the States, and you know, the bigger the better is sort of what they go for, and that's what you get a feel of here in Wales.
Go ahead. I'll go. Sure. Just wondering what the Netflix show, has that impacted you? Are you getting recognized a little bit more, or is it changed things? And are you happy with the final product?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I was doing a week of training in Florida before going to Acapulco, and one lady came up to me at Publix and said, you know, me and my husband were watching you last night on TV, so on the Netflix show. So I guess that's one occurrence where I felt it, but not like crazy. You know, it's not, I haven't been like a overnight worldwide superstar or anything, but I guess some more people in the world have seen the show, so I don't know. I'm still, you know, playing tennis, and that's what I do as a profession, but it's been fun to sort of be a part of something that Netflix has made, and being a part of this sort of sports documentary series together with Drive to Survive and the golf series that came out recently is fun, and let's see what happens in the next part and the next season, but it's positive for us, you know, if more people know and are interested in tennis.
Any part of during the filming of the documentary where you just thought, oh gee, I don't know if I really want that to be in a documentary?
Well, I mean, there was an incident during the Roland Garros before the semifinal where I was quite angry, you know, honestly, because you know, the court crew wouldn't let us warm up before the match. They said that it was supposed to rain. It wasn't raining when we arrived on court. So that was the sort of hiccup and the argument that was ongoing, and I don't know if it was good or not, but the Netflix was there catching it all, and I was getting more and more frustrated because they just refused us to play even though it wasn't raining, and you know, that's something that I'd almost forgot that happened, because it was a big week for me, big tournament. I reached my first final at a Grand Slam, and that little hiccup was not what I was thinking about, you know, whenever the show was going to come out, that had actually happened. But it was a little bit funny also seeing back on what can happen sometimes for us. It's not always like a smooth ride. Sometimes there are some different things that can occur. So, but, you know, I didn't invite Netflix to too many personal things, because that's not something I feel so comfortable with. Inviting them to my hotel room, or you know, having Maria, my girlfriend, talk on the screen is not something she feels so comfortable with. So there are many things that we said no to, and that also is maybe a reason. I mean, you feel like I could have been more on the screen if I wanted to, and if I had let them come to my hotel room, or if I had invited them for dinner, you could have more screen time. But for me, it was more trying to document the tennis side, and I honestly wish for the next part of the season and the next part of the season, and for next season as well, season 2, that they will document a little bit more, what the draw looks like, if there are some fun matches where there are some history from before between players, which we didn't really get too much in this first part, I think. For example, in my Roland Garros run to the final, there were some interesting matchups where I played. I was down 2-1 in the third round, came back, and then in my second round I played a fellow Scandinavian Finnish player, and then in the quarterfinal I played also another Scandinavian, Ruud, obviously, which was a little bit tension during that match that we didn't get to see. So I hope that next season we will get a little bit more action on court and not maybe as much, I don't know, other things. I don't know. Yeah, that's just my thoughts.
Hi, good afternoon. You've been talking about Netflix, but overall in the sport of tennis, there's so many rules, so many traditions. Mm-hmm. If you could switch one, if you could change one tradition, one rule in the game,
I think it would be to just play with one serve. Would be something that is not simple thing to do, but it's like a rule that could change. Many other rules are tough to do anything with, and it's obviously not going to happen. But if there was something, I think you could just change. Maybe play some tournaments with only one serve, see how it goes. Would make more rallies in the game. I feel sometimes that, especially on fast hard courts and those surfaces, that it's almost too easy sometimes to hold serve, and you don't get those fun rallies that you might get more on the slower surface, and especially clay is where the surface where you play more rallies, which I think is fun, but that doesn't mean that that's the right answer. Some people think it's fun to watch aces and faster rallies, and for the players also it's more comfortable to hit an ace than to hit 20 times back and forth. For our body and our physicality, it's easier for us, but I think it would make more rallies, and maybe you only need to play one set instead of 3 or 2 or 5 if you know that almost every point is going to be a good rally.
And have you suggested this to John Isner as yet?
Yeah, I don't know. He would still have the best second serve, like he would still have the best serve no matter if they took away one, but it would just show you, all right, let's see deuce, 4-all, let's see if you have the nerve to go for a big one, or if you're just going to put it in court and play the rally. I think that will happen more often instead of, one guy bringing out the big ace on deuce 4-all. Is obviously creds to him because you have to hit the ace, but if you do it with only one serve, it's completely different, and you could have more. Just think in general, you will have more rallies in the match, and I think that's something that I like to see when I watch a tennis match. I would rather watch an average of 10 or 12 shots than 2 or 3. So that's just my point of view.
If I could just follow up, who do you think's tougher from the baseline, Rafa on clay or Novak on hard court?
I think Rafa on clay has been the one that really I felt sort of clueless what to do, and chanceless as well. It was really a one-way show, and we played in Roland Garros last year, and particularly the best of 5 sets is very difficult. Not taking anything away from Novak, because whenever it's important on a hard court, he steps up and he will break you, or he will play some unreal rally. But just the general feeling, every point, being thrown at you with an incredible amount of topspin, and how Rafa just locks you in one corner, and you feel like you're on his home ground and home in his backyard. And for me, that was very, very some of the most difficult opponents I've ever played.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon.
Thanks.